telling me about your dad when he was driving.
Well, it's just that you were talking about, well, I mentioned Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
And, the Forrest Gump types. When my dad was when he was a taxi driver.
Yeah.
You used to have to, sort of do your bit for the local area.
Oh, God.
By taking the Forrest Gump people to Blackpool.
Yeah.
Is that what they're called now, the Forrest Gump people? Is that what the organisations that support them ask for them to be referred to?
A minibus with Life is a Box of Chocolates.com.
Well,
Forrest Gump types.
It must have been, so you worked with these people?
It was, yeah.
The people with learning difficulties.
Yeah, and they used to get 5.
Coming home must have been a busman's holiday.
So he got 5 of them in the cab.
Yeah.
And he had to go to Blackpool, and 4 of them were really good, you know, behaving themselves, didn't mess about, weren't fighting and stuff, but there was one who was just causing loads of trouble and he couldn't control him.
Oh,
and what you've got to be able to do with people like that, you don't want them to get stressed out because it's not good for them. It stresses them out, and you could end up with a bit.
Thanks, Dr. Karl.
You could end up with a bit of a riot on your hands. So he thought, I'll nip this one in the bud right now, and he pulled up just on the outskirts of Blackpool, and he took the one out that was causing problems and put it in a wheelie bin.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologise.
He did what?
Oh,
He did it for the good of the others. He put it in a wheelie bin, he was having a good time, he thought it was one of the rides.
Can you stop saying it?
Him.
Yeah.
He you know, he was having a good time, and once he calmed down, my dad went back and picked him up, and he was fine, he had a good time.
What, he left him in there the whole time the others were in Blackpool?
No, he left him there, not the whole day, probably about an hour and a half.
In a wheelie bin?
In a wheelie bin.
Why couldn't he get out?
Because, like, his arms were trapped on the thing. One of those one...
What, he tied him up?
No, do you know, like, because he was a big fella, and, like, he managed to get him in so his arms were down the side like that, so he was a bit trapped.
Wasn't he screaming and crying and stuff?
He was making a bit of noise, but, do you know what I mean?
What, you feel so right?
Well, but anyway, I didn't really want to talk about it, he just brought it up because of Forrest Gump.
Did his, family know about this? Is this the first time they'd have heard about this?
He didn't get asked to do it again. Because he had another problem similar to it where he had a little minibus, and it was his job to take a load of old women to the bingo hall, and it was miles away. And he took him there. There's no problem. About 10 old women in a minibus.
One of them was causing trouble, so he pulled over it.
No, right, so he took him there, everything's fine, he dropped him off, they had a lovely night, right, they had a lovely night, won a bit of cash, coming back, it's a bit of a late night, and they all started moaning at him, going, I want to be dropped off here, take me there, I want to be dropped off first, I've got to get up early, blah blah, you know, my husband's expecting me, I'm already late, take me here first, take me there, and he just pulled up, in the middle of nowhere, said, get out. And he made them get out, and they all called for taxis. They charged that company who was meant to be taking him home in the minibus, and he got the sack. But a similar sort of story. You can't be dealing with it when people don't sort of just calm down and, like, solve the situation.
Yeah.
They're just all like, I want to be dropped off first, take me here first, take me...
Yeah, so he acts like a madman. Good.
Oh, that's
right, we've got to crack on, haven't we, really?
Says so much. Yeah.
Yes, Nick Drake, a song for the ladies this week from the album Brighter Later, At the Time of a City Clock. That's
Goodbye.
it. Yeah,
Goodbye.
see you next time.
Bye. Well, now to one of our most popular features. I mean, this could even rival Monkey News one day. I mean, it is Monkey News. It's you know, it's news from the point of view of a monkey, a shaved monkey. It's Karl Pilkington's diary. Oh, he's written it down, yeah.
Was that the jingle, or were you just, just annoyed about something? Okay. Went and did the podcast. We had a meeting after. I don't like meetings, as I can't keep focused on what people are talking about. I think Ricky has the same problem as after 25 minutes he was trying to wrestle me. I tried to do what spiders do and stayed still as if I was dead. And Ricky just stayed on top of me, not moving. A bit like when you see one of them big snakes swallowing a sheep. Ricky got bored and released me. I went home thinking, why had I left my old job for this? A homeless man asked me for some money, but I didn't feel like I should treat him, as I felt that he'd probably had a better day than me. Oh, God. Suzanne called me to say she'd gone for a haircut, and that she'd meet me in the supermarket. I went to the supermarket, but she wasn't there. I called her and she said she was near the fruit aisle. I went to the fruit aisle and she wasn't there. Turns out she was in a different supermarket on the other side of town. And that if I'd listened to her properly, I'd have known that. I didn't want to say that
Well, you just went to the first supermarket you thought of, as opposed to listening to what supermarket... I'm in the supermarket, alright, bye.
I didn't want to say that I hadn't heard her properly, because my ears were ringing a bit from the wrestling from earlier. 25 minutes later, I met up with Suzanne. Her haircut wasn't that bad. Normally her haircuts are followed by an argument between us, as she pays over the odds for some daft haircut that's the latest style.
Brilliant.
I wish she'd take a picture out of a magazine or ask for a style rather than letting the hairdresser do what she wants. I said I only tell her to do this as she's got a square head, and a close-cut hairdo makes it look squarer. She said, what do you think of this cut? I said it looked alright, as I couldn't be bothered arguing about it. It's weird writing a diary. I don't know who thought of doing one of these first. The last time I did one was at school. They used to get you to do it so they could keep an eye on whatever you were up to. My diary used to say the same thing every night. Got home, went to the shop to get potatoes, bread, milk. Went home, watched telly, went to bed. I think I might have gone to Twiggy's dance club just so I had something different to write. You've not told us about Twiggy's dance club.
It's just, you know, I sort of, when I was a kid, I sort of gave everything a bit of a go. I did boxing and that, didn't I? Gave that a go.
About 45 minutes.
And, yeah, a mate sort of said, oh, you know, you're into your dancing, your robotics and that, you're doing your body popping, right? Body popping and that. He said, you ought to come to Twiggy's. And, I went there, but I didn't go in, it was shut. They were just having, like, loads of toilet rolls delivered. I think, like, they were, like, using it as a storage place for toilet rolls and that. So I said, oh, I've come to have a dance. And like, oh, not tonight. Come back tomorrow. I never went back.
Brilliant. What a waste of an anecdote. Right. Brilliant.
Just to recap, you're convinced then that the teachers are asking you to keep diaries so they can keep tabs on you. And then to continue the diary, as there were more problems happening on the estate, they started to add Saturday and Sundays to the school diary to keep an eye on what we were doing at the weekend. I struggled to fill it on a Sunday, as the shop I got potatoes and bread from was shut on a Sunday. I had to go over to Shepherd's Bush to meet someone. I got the tube. There was a badly burnt man on the tube. It's amazing how the body can continue through quite a lot of bad stuff. It got me thinking about how much stuff you could remove in your body, one by one, without dying. If it was a competition, the cockroach would win, as it can live for a week without a head.
I just mean, like, say if, you know, they run out of ideas for TV programmes and that, right? They get someone who isn't well. They go, look, do you mind if we make a programme on you? And what they do, they sit them in the bed, and they go, right, what we're going to do now is take out the heart, but replace it with a pacemaker. Right,
No. Sorry. People with pacemakers don't have their heart taken out and a pacemaker popped in.
Alright then. Some sort of machine. What I'm getting to is...
Have you been playing Operation?
What I mean is the big finale would just be a head chatting with loads of wires going into it, and it's like, look what we can do with science.
That's what the programme's called. It's the same every week. The volunteer is just a head with loads of wires going out of it.
Look what we can do with science.
And he's going,
goodbye.
Oh, I feel ill.
Got some post delivered to me today. It was... Oh, this is great.
This makes it in the diary.
Got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Pilkington.
I don't know why that's so funny. Oh, God.
I got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Pilkington. I opened it, and the first sentence read, Dear Mr. K. Pilkington, you're one of our most valuable customers. I put it in the bin. Thought I would learn some new words, as Steve always says I don't use enough different words. I read in the Fortean Times that the word whew means an ugly female ghost with drooping breasts.
What do you mean?
Is that how am I pronouncing that right?
Who's using that word? Who is using that word?
It was just W-E-W-E.
Let's call it a woo. An ugly female ghost with drooping breasts. I think I'm right when I say there are too many words in the world. I don't think I will ever get round to using the word woo. Watched a health programme. Wasn't watching it properly, but heard some doctors say that we only get so many heartbeats in a lifetime, so don't do too much exercise. I told Suzanne, and she said I probably hadn't heard it right. We got talking about death. Suzanne said she didn't like thinking about it. I said she might end up being a woo. I was chuffed as I'd managed to use my new word. I went to the supermarket to get tonight's tea. On the way, I stopped and looked in the fishmongers at all the different fish they had in the window. It's like a child in one of those kids' TV shows.
I know!
Mr. Pilkington went to the fishmonger. He stopped and looked at all the fish in the window.
Hello, Mr. Dilkington, I said.
There was a newspaper clipping stuck on the glass about a two-headed fish that they've made in Taiwan. I don't see the point in doing this, as a fish having two heads ain't gonna solve the world's hunger problems, as the head is the bit you throw away. Invent a fish with two bodies, and I'd say well done.
Good point, isn't it?
Suzanne watched one of her favourite TV programmes. I've told her the telly only goes on if there's something she wants to watch. If there's nothing on, she has to talk to me about stuff I've learnt. Like Descartes. Watched a programme on him the other day. He is the one who said something like, I know I'm about 'cause I dream. Doesn't work for everything 'cause ants don't sleep. I don't know if I'd like that or not. You don't know if you would like it if you didn't ever
Not
sleep.
sleeping. It's just one long day. I don't know. Don't know how you put up with that. Do you think it'd be a good idea?
No.
Why not?
Because, as you said, it would get a bit boring. You know, your sleep is your rest, your time off. It helps you detoxify. It helps you sort of think things through on a subconscious level. You know,
But don't you ever get it where, I mean, sometimes it's brilliant to have a sleep when you're tired, but don't you sometimes feel
that's
like...
the best time to have a sleep when you're tired.
No, but sometimes when you go to bed and you're not that tired and you're kind of thinking, oh, I'm going to waste some hours of my life now and I'm not really in the mood for this.
Well, that's
sleeping.
just wishing you had longer on this earth doing creative things. I mean, if you didn't have to sleep, you could spend more time talking to a tortoise and going to the toffee shop. Same thing happened when I was at school and I had to play drums in Little Donkey. I didn't tell my parents, right? But my dad turned up anyway. And what happened?
He,
How old were you, Carl?
well, it was the school that I used to go to.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
so
Oh,
secondary-
yeah. You went. Well,
secondary.
you used to go to the school you used to go to.
No, but what I mean
Go
is,
on.
I didn't go to secondary, did I? So I missed a lot of that.
Sure.
But primary, I liked.
Oh,
it was
okay.
all colouring in and stuff.
Yep.
And it was a Christmas play, and I managed to get a part in it. And,
Did you audition?
got a part in it, and I should have been playing the drums to the one about Kings.
We Three Kings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was meant to be doing that, but Little Donkey came on, and it was one of those.
What do you mean came on?
That was like next up on you know the next song,
Right.
and it's one of them songs that you can't help sort of
Tapping along to.
yeah. Do you know like if I was to go
Yeah, you'd have to finish it with.
yeah. Do you know that they actually send that into space
Do they?
and
What, hoping the aliens will respond with that?
yeah. They do that because apparently it is one of them things that you can't help.
What, even if you're an alien life form?
Yeah.
They know that, do they?
Yeah. But anyway,
What, because they watch Star Trek or something?
Hello. Knock, knock.
Yeah.
no, seriously.
Is it true, like, if you
who's
say
there?
out, knock, knock into space, yeah, they have to say that.
Oggy, oggy, oggy. Oh,
You
that
do
is
this,
that
man.
is
You look
great.
into it.
Look.
Seriously.
Oh, hold on, what's something out there? Was a little green fella? That is great.
Yeah. So anyway,
That is
Little Donkey is like one of them tunes that you can't. And I was there, and I had the drumstick, and I thought, oh god,
The drumstick.
I could feel myself. And anyway,
Just wanting to do it, yeah.
I started going along and playing Little Donkey, which I wasn't meant to do, but it went down such a storm.
What, were there people like parents and that dozing off, and then suddenly they heard your version of Little Donkey, and they thought, wait a minute, now it's really picking up.
What do you mean?
I'm glad we paid £1.50 for this.
What do you mean it went down such a storm? They're going, hold on, was it like when
People have
Ringo...
lighters in the air.
It was like when Ringo joined the Beatles, now going,
Yeah.
boo, Pete Best, but he went,
Yeah,
and they went, whoa! Oh,
No,
God.
but the teacher just said, oh, it went down really well, you can do that again tonight,
Right.
when you're in it again. But anyway, so my dad was there, and...
And you hadn't told him about this performance, so
no,
he
I never
just
did.
turned up
I
off
never
his own
did.
back.
I never took the letters home and stuff to
No.
show my mum and dad, because it just put me off. So, anyway, he turned up, don't know why, he must have heard from someone else's dad.
Yeah.
He turned up, and he swore about me, which...
Did he?
I don't...
Can you
What?
could you
Do you
use
think
a word
it's allowed
that's
to be said? The word?
Of course it is.
Right. If you got a kid in the car or anything, you can turn it down now. can't you?
Yeah.
Right. But he said, there was a guy stood next to him with a camera, big video camera, filming it, and he said, "Yeah, film it, but try and avoid getting the twat in the hat in the shot, because I had one of those porters, you know, the little round pork pie hats on.
Right.
This is so sad.
What was this a nativity play?
It was about Jesus and stuff.
Yeah, well, there was a porter there helping him with his bags.
Yes, there was. I forgot.
I mean, Mary and Joseph, they got there. Yeah, because
Sure.
it was the hope, you know, because the inn was full.
Yes.
But I think the porter doubled up with the inn and the stable.
Right, that was nice.
So
of him.
he
carry bags over. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so yeah.
You're right, though. I don't know why I was wearing one of them, but I was. And
And your father said that. And how did you know your father said that? Did you
he told
hear
me
it?
about it later.
Oh, he told you about it later.
Yeah, I was talking about stuff I'd done at school, and he said, "Oh God, remember that?" And I spoke to him the other day about it,
Right.
and yeah,
Oh, God.
it's a shame.
So that was the end of your sort of drumming career, really? Because it could have been. I mean, you know, the audience loved it the night before.
Yeah.
You could have like been, who knows, a whole new world for you.
Yeah.
Have you done any stuff?
I've never drummed. I wish I had, man. I wish
But
I had.
that is
That's a movie story, but
is that, and that's why you don't tell, your mum and dad don't know you on the radio, do
they
they?
think when they were down the other weekend, they had to come in. I just said, "I'll just go in and press the buttons."
Because they could listen on Sky Digital, couldn't they?
They could do.
But you wouldn't want that, would you?
I don't want that.
No.
Carl-
Play a record, I want to talk to you again a little bit about this later.
yeah.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you more than that, Rick. You're going to need some time off just to have a little breather, because I know how hard you work.
And you, mate.
Well, thanks, mate, but I mean, you blinking work hard.
But Carl's been on holiday again, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah, because, Carl, you don't do anything.
And you have weekends off. You take at least 5 or 6 weeks holiday a year, even though you haven't got a job now. You're meant to be doing this, and yet you still
So
go
your
on
whole
holiday.
life's a holiday, basically.
Yeah, why do you need a holiday? You potter around. Your big day last week was going to the cobblers. So why did you need a break so much this week?
It's just that, you know, it's good for your brain and that, isn't it? It opens it up a bit.
You are not evidence for that.
Where did you go?
Gran Canaria.
For a week?
Yeah.
Just sitting around?
Well, there isn't much else to do at Gran Canaria. I mean, I don't want to go slagging a place off, because every time I seem to talk about somewhere, get into trouble for it.
Right.
But it's just like a big rock. It's just volcanic, innit?
And you must have looked like a little barnacle on that.
Have you been there before?
Been near it before to another rock, which was just.
But
it
what,
was
you
the
had
same
your
sort of
fingers
thing.
burned, why did you go back?
Because you think, well, they can't have loads of these islands that are the same, like just a big rock with hotels on. They can't get away with it. So you think,
they
well, the
obviously
next
are
one.
getting away with it. But why do you keep going to these places that are rocks? Why don't you investigate first? Ask your travel agent, is this a giant rock?
Because that's what you do, innit? You go and find out yourself. I mean, when Armstrong went to the moon, what was he expecting up there? That's a fact. That's a big rock, and he still went all that way.
I don't know what that point was.
No,
Fair enough.
so what I'm saying is, though, sometimes
Tell us about the moon landing. As you started, what do you know about that? You know, because I mean, so far you've given us a lot of insight into the moon landing. So there was Armstrong.
There was Armstrong and that.
Yeah.
There was fella called Buzz.
Yeah.
And another bloke.
Yeah. Poor bastard.
Yeah, never remembered.
Yeah, go on.
And they went up there, got out. 2 of them did. One of them didn't bother. The one whose name, don't know who he was. Didn't even get out, stretch his legs, right? Went all that way. They had a potter about, had a wander, came back again.
Yeah.
So that's all you need to know, isn't it?
Yeah.
And in your opinion, pointless?
To me, yeah. But to them, I'm sure they had a good time, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you just take the risk, don't you? Go and visit a place, make up your own mind.
And so, what do you make of this place? You enjoy it, Gran Canaria? It was just a big rock, but did you
I bet the moon was better.
Really?
What did you do?
It was just, it's one of them. It was a big hotel, which is that's where I made a mistake. It was one of those like big, massive places where there's loads of people, and you go for your dinner.
That describes a hotel.
Yeah.
No,
Sounds like one to me.
You've nailed that.
I've been to a few, that sounds like it.
No, but do you know what I mean though? There's the nice small ones where it's just enough people, but this is like mental, and it was full of old people really.
Oh.
I mean that's probably why it's called Gran Canaria, right? Because there's just
Grannies
old people.
everywhere.
Yeah, right. But what I thought I'd start doing is start a diary.
Okay, why?
Just 'cause I sort of had a bit of time on my hands and that. Just thought, write it down, write stuff down.
And do you hope that this one day will become one of the great literary documents like Samuel Pepys' diary?
I haven't heard of that. Is it any good?
You've never heard of Samuel Pepys' diary?
No,
the most famous diary other than probably Anne Frank's.
I've heard of Anne Frank's and that, and I thought if she's sat in a loft, knocking stuff up, not much going on in her life at that point, yet she was still writing it down.
Yeah, whereas you've been to Gran Canaria, yeah.
I thought, so there is stuff going on that I can chat about. Start a diary.
Sure.
You started a diary?
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? Did you keep it up every day?
Yeah, just...
Oh, can I read it, please?
Well, a diary is meant to be sort of...
Please, can I read some out on this podcast? Karl.
Some of it, though, is only relevant to me. It's sort of
please, give me it. Oh my God.
I mean, this isn't... I haven't just...
Look how big it is!
It's one of those desk diaries.
It's huge. It's about a foot long, and it's oh, that is amazing. Imagine if Anne Frank's had been like that. As she got out, right, everyone would have heard it clank down on the desk.
Yeah, but my writing's quite big, isn't it?
Oh, look, give us that.
Do you know about joined up writing? Have you heard about that?
There's no point. Sometimes you can't read it, can you? So it's best
okay.
to look at
oh my God, it starts on the first day. This is wonderful. Going on holiday to Gran Canaria today. Woke up to the news that Tony Banks had died. There was a piece on the news about how everyone was shocked. Got me thinking about an invention that was really good. Right. A watch that counted down your life. If it says you've got 3 days left, go to the doctors. Told Suzanne about invention. She said she wouldn't buy one. But she said that about the iPod.
How would this device work, this watch? I mean, how would you know when you were about to die? Is that a concern? Again, not for you to worry about, presumably the boffins and the
No, all I was thinking is that Tony Banks fella, he died and everyone was shocked about it. But if you had like a little watch on...
But how does it work? You can't just say, wouldn't it be good? How would this work? Yeah, I imagine you in the patent office going, got an idea. They go, oh, certainly, Mr. Pilkington, what's your idea? Watch that counting down your life. Oh, how does that work?
Just wear it, just pop it on your wrist.
No, what do you mean, just pop it on your wrist? How does it work? Just pop it on your wrist. Brilliant. You're an idiot.
Well, it's interesting that he goes on. The flight to Gran Canaria was a bit bumpy. I thought about the clock that counts down your life again, and I wondered if it would know if you were going to die in a disaster. Now, he's querying his own design.
He's wondering if he would know. He's invented this.
And now he's not even sure. A fella on the plane was reading Koi Mag. It was a fishing magazine. I glanced over and noticed he was reading the Pond of the Month article. Don't think they could make it into a weekly magazine. Well, to be fair to you, because I remember seeing a guy on the train once reading Carp Monthly, a magazine dedicated entirely to carp, and it had Carp of the Month. And I just thought, once you're like 3 months in, the editor must be stressing, have we got any more carp? Have we got a carp that's actually done anything?
I reckon if they used the same one twice, there wouldn't be many complaints.
No one would be noticing.
No, that's the carp they used 2 years ago.
There was a really fat bloke on the plane. He was playing on his PSP. While I waited to go to the toilet, I looked at what game he was playing. It was darts. He's that fat and lazy, he can't even face playing a more active game on a games console. Me and Suzanne got off the coach along with a couple of old people. One of them was in a wheelchair. I don't think it was wise of them to come to a volcanic island with a wheelchair. Everywhere's pretty rough paving and slopey. Guess I'll keep an eye on it as the weeks go on. Day 2 in Gran Canaria.
Brilliant, we're only at day 2.
The hotel's a bit odd. I've never seen as many cross-eyed people in one location.
That's enough, isn't it?
That's amazing!
Well, you may as well let me read on a bit more.
But this is amazing.
Well, come back to
This is a brilliant diary. This might be the best diary ever written. Oh.
While sat listening to the Kinks on my iPod, I wondered if everybody thinks in their accent. I know I do. What's this? What are you talking about?
Just that, when I've been sat there lying on the lounger, right, and I was thinking about stuff.
How do you know you think in your accent? Tell me a typical thought.
Because what I mean is, say if I was like, if I saw something, right, do you know how I say, like, oh, that's a bit weird, isn't it?
But I don't have to. But when you think, I don't think the sentence is like I'm saying it. It's just a thought. The thought appears. It's conceptual and it's already there. It's not like I go, Rick, what? Just looking at a fellow over there, were you? Yeah, I was. Yeah. I was thinking it was a bit weird. Oh, so was I. I don't think out whole sentences.
Whereas you have Carl, stop listening to the Kinks for a minute. Look over there. More cross-eyed people.
No, well that's
Is that how your mind works?
In a way, yeah. And
Brilliant.
that's when, because I
That
thought,
explains a lot.
It's great that he has to think about whole sentences.
because I thought, that's weird, isn't it? Like, I didn't think, that's weird, isn't it? And I thought, I actually think in my accent. And then I thought, does Stephen Hawking, does he, when he's doing his maths and that, is he, I don't know where he's from, so I don't know what his accent would be like.
I think he's from Kent or Cambridge or Oxford. Or something like
Right,
that.
so,
So you think he might think in his
voice, in that voice
the
box
computerised
thing.
voice?
Just wondered.
Had lunch inside today due to shite weather. Sat next to an old fella. Old men's ears and noses carry on growing as they get older. Suzanne noticed his fingers were fat too. Maybe they continue to grow. Suzanne didn't laugh when I said her arse had the same problem. Day 3, cloudy start to the day. Had pie and chips in a cafe. Had a bit of an argument with Suzanne because I thought it was daft that we were paying for food when we were on an all-inclusive holiday. Changed my mind when I saw they sold pie though. The cafe was called Tattoos. The fellow who owned it didn't have any tattoos. But we never saw his wife.
Oh, brilliant.
Had a drink in a bar. Everyone sat and watched one of the local cats lick its bollocks.
It's the greatest holiday in the world. That's the entertainment in that town.
Went back to the hotel and had a sleep before tea. I love the fact you're moaning about old people, but you're just as bad.
You've done nothing so far.
He said nothing, he's got a big hip.
Oh, God.
Woke up to news about ducks being badly treated. There was a really ugly one with bent legs.
I'm gonna die. Why does he write this down? Oh, God. Oh.
There is a fat bloke from Bolton who is in the pool as I write this. He's got a big tattoo on his back, but I can't work out what it is. ... He just got out of the pool and burped. You just felt like you had to keep us abreast of that.
Everything's in the diary. I just seen it get to the point where you're going, breathed in,
Yeah.
breathed out again.
There was a big fat fella in the sea who kept his t-shirt on. If you're big and fat, is there more chance of you getting burnt because there's more of you on show? I asked Suzanne and she said she didn't know in that sort of not listening kind of way. I wanted to hang about to see if the fat bloke was going to get in the kayak, but Suzanne said we had to head back. Just let him wait in to see if he's going to capsize. We go home today, so we got up early to get the last bit of cloud.
No, it's just that it wasn't. It's not that sunny all the time. I mean, I was sat in weather that if it was like that here, there's no way I'd be sat in the garden.
Yeah.
But because you're on holiday, it's like, well, we got to sit in it. Put your coat on.
So are you going to continue to write this diary? Every single day?
It's amazing. Keep this diary up. It's amazing.
No, I will keep it up because what I find as well is, I think earlier on before I went away, I think I did learn something, and because I wrote it down, I remembered it a bit better. So
What was that?
I just was thinking then, I forgot it now, but but I remembered looking back at it and not having to read it all because I remembered the end of it before I read it, if you know what I mean.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, if you've enjoyed the diary of Karl Pilkington, more next week, I hope. Another week's worth. That's amazing. I'm going to try and get that published. We'll put the odd page up on the web. Go to rickygervais.com. Don't forget to register there as well so we can email you and let you know what's happening. Brilliant. You know, the biggest complaint ever on TV, the most complaints ever for anything on TV, was the showing of The Last Temptation of Christ.
Yeah.
Do you know the second? Yeah, the second was I think Anne Robinson put in the Welsh into room 101.
What? Because she didn't like him and that.
Yeah, she just said, well, they're going in the,
She said it slightly more eloquently than that.
Yeah.
I can the people or the place.
I don't know.
I think it was the place and therefore the people.
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah?
No, well, you know, my mum and dad have sort of moved from Manchester. They reside now in Wales.
Oh, yeah.
And it is.
Look at his face, turning his nose up.
No, but it is pretty depressing. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of them places that it's like you go back in time and that when you go there, I mean, maybe the major cities there, maybe Cardiff is alright.
What, even coming from Manchester, it's like going back in time?
It's just, it's like one of them places that it feels like every day is Sunday. Do you know what I mean? It's just depressing and grey and slate
Lots of
everywhere.
vickers walking around going, I'm late.
Well, yeah, it's the sort of attitude they have, right? This is true, because my mum and dad live there and that, right? And they love it, it's alright, it's an healthy place to go when you get older and that. But, this is why they don't move on in Wales.
Well, I'd just like to make another...
No.
Sorry to any Welsh people listening, we're not saying you don't move on. Carl is.
No, but...
Sorry about the little Chinese shoes again
The thing
as well.
is, it's good that, in a way, that they do that, and they don't want to be, like, you know, rushing about everywhere, because the way London isn't that great either, is it? Because it's totally opposite here, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not having a go. It is a bit dull. I think even people who live there will agree with me, right? But, like, one of the shops that my mum and dad use, right, it's only a little sort of villagey type shop, they can't be bothered staying open for hours and hours, right? Because there's not enough people use the shop.
Yeah.
So what you do is, they get used to what you buy,
They
and
leave it out.
they put it in a phone box outside.
They put it in a phone box?
Yeah.
So it doesn't get wet.
So my dad's loving that.
Well,
Once he
yeah.
found that out, it was like, brilliant.
But how is that a bad thing? That's brilliant.
Well, it's not for other people, it is for my dad, because he's picking up all sorts of stuff.
Oh,
Chickens.
no, he's not!
Oh, yeah.
He's not nicking other people's shopping.
Well, it's not like nicking, is it? Because it's not theirs yet.
Oh! And you've stitched him up on radio.
Well, of course, because they're going to think, who is there in town with a Manc accent?
Who
hangs around a lot,
keeps making phone calls. And is getting fatter.
Yeah.
That's
You stitched it
I
right
love
up
that.
there,
I
Carl.
love that your dad was excited when he found out.
I can't believe that he's moved there. He's retired to this little village where it's based on trust and community, and he is abusing it. He's using his scally Manc ways.
Bloody hell, Lakers. There's no bread again.
There's old women
Was
going
empty.
hungry.
Yeah.
Their cats aren't getting fed, and your father is just... I can't... That's obscene. That's obscene.
Oh, I think it's Die Thief. That fella from Manchester.
I don't even think they've got Sky there yet, have they? They can't listen. They won't know what's...
I think you stitched him right up. I hope you have, actually. I hope he goes down for it. I hope he's hounded out of the community like Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
They should get burning torches, go up to the
Set fire to his cottage.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right, well...
He's out of the choir.
Yeah.
Has it come to this?
Set streets.
Original pirate material. You're listening to the streets. Lock down your aerial. Has it come to this?
Well, I've been waiting for this for a week. It's a regular feature now. When we read from Karl's diary. Karl decided to keep a diary. He's gone through with it. I can see it there. It's massive. It's a huge desk diary that he has to carry around with him. And the pages are getting full up. You're really keeping to this.
Yeah.
Right, this is extracts from Karl's diary.
Did podcast and went for an Italian with Ricky and Steve. Italian place is good. We've been there a few times. I always have the same thing, spaghetti. Can't remember what everyone else had. Last time we went there, Steve had little octopuses with pasta. You could see that they were octopuses. They hadn't been cut up or anything. My rule is that I only eat stuff that looks nice when it's alive. A cow, a chicken, some fish. An octopus is an odd-looking thing alive. Even worse when it's dead and limp. It looks like it just shouldn't have been sat in the spaghetti.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Ricky drew another picture of my head. We've given a few of them away as prizes, but he draws so many of them that they won't be worth as much anymore. Everyone will eventually have one. Like those pictures of a boy crying that caused houses to burn down in the 1980s.
What does that mean?
What are you talking about?
Don't you remember I mean, if you're listening in America, they might not have made it over there.
Is it the sort of like the sugary ones with kids? Like, is it Techikov or something?
It's just some kid. My Auntie Nora had one, and it was just like a kid with like a blue jumper on, and it's like a painting, not a photo.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And he's just crying.
Like a chocolate box, it's really awful, sort of sugary.
And what happened is they found out that a load of houses were being set on fire or burst into flames, whatever. And the weird thing was,
oh, it's bollocks.
every house that burnt down had that photo.
Yeah, because every house had that picture in the fucking 70s and 80s. Idiot. It's like, we're linking it to sinks. Every house that's ever burned down had a sink. You're talking shit again. Carry on.
Wednesday. Saw a homeless bloke. I'm surprised that no companies have thought about sponsoring the homeless. Something like a clothing company. Give them some clothes that have an advert on the back. Everyone's a winner.
Good idea.
Not bad, is it?
Got on the tube to Camden. Read in a free newspaper that hedgehogs could be gone by 2025. I think I've seen more dead hedgehogs than alive ones anyway, so I don't think I'll miss them. Went round to Ricky's house and had a game of pool. It should have been nice and relaxing, but Jane gave me some cake, and Ricky said I can't play pool if my hands are all sticky from
No,
cake.
it was the sugar. And it wasn't that either. After he'd finished it, they weren't just sticky. He was licking his fingers, sucking his fingers off, and then was going to pick up pool cues and touch things. And I was thinking, go and wash your hands after licking your hands. You're not a cat.
This turned into an argument when I said I didn't want to wash my hands.
Why didn't he?
He goes for a piss all the time without washing his hands, and then squeezes my head. I know I prefer to have lemon cake crumbs on my head than knob juice. Was going to do a crossword, but I'm tired and have learnt enough today.
What have you learned?
Well, the stuff about hedgehogs and that.
Oh, God.
Was on my way to my mates, and I got on a train. Got close to a station, but realised I needed a wee. Was about to go in a cubicle when a blind man with a dog, who was bumbling his way through the walkway, came around. I said, "Are you after the toilet?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "It's on your right." I shouldn't have let him go first, as he took ages, and it would be my stop soon. The dog waited outside the cubicle. I was going to stroke it, but then I remembered someone telling me that you shouldn't. Don't know
Why
why that
not?
is.
Because something to do with the owner should be the only one who sort of deals with that dog, and you shouldn't.
Well, you shouldn't stroke it because you'll cover it in fucking lemon cake.
No, but just because, you know, if you stroke it and that, it might like me and want to go off with me, and he'll come out and be lost and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not totally sure, but I just thought.
They like.
Nelly, Ride With Me. That's featuring City Spud. I don't know if you're aware of that, but there we are. Good, nice summer tune.
Carl, tell Steve what you just told me when Steve was in the toilet then.
Right, you know, I'd just been away with my mum and dad and that. And one of the things I always like doing is having a good chat with my dad about stuff he got up to when he was a kid and that.
Yeah.
Right, because he got up to loads of stuff, and every time I see him, he tells me something, and I think, it's like, why are you just telling me that now? It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I mean, to me, he's kind of like Ronnie Biggs or someone. He's just the most extraordinary kind of.
well, this
Character
happened,
from
right?
character.
I can't remember. There was a delay yesterday. There was problems on the Paddington line, and he was saying, "Oh, trains aren't what they used to be."
Sure.
He said, "You know," he said, "I was
They
looking."
used to be horses, didn't they?
Well, he was looking in the booklet, and it was saying how you can have your bags collected if you want, but it costs you £5.
Yeah.
So that's outrageous.
Sure, of course.
Right, so he said that's the problem with this country. We've got good with computers and that, but when it comes to, like, getting service, it's gone out the window.
Yeah.
Right? So he said, when I worked on the trains, you know, and he was going on like this, that and the other, so I said, "Oh, I didn't know you worked on the trains." He said, yeah, when I was 18, right, it was his job to get the coal, right, and chuck it in the engine, right, and one day he's in Grand Central Station in Manchester, which is now the GMEX Centre,
Right.
and that was like the main station, and he was in there. The fella who should have been sort of driving the train, right, he said, "Oh, I'm just nipping to the pub,
Sure.
so you just stay here, keep the engine topped up and stuff."
Yeah.
So he's like, "Yeah, all right."
For a quick getaway.
Yeah.
Right? So the fella goes in the pub, and my dad's in there, you know, putting the coal on. He did his bacon and eggs on a little shovel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anyway, fella comes up. He says, "Right, can you move the train forward now?"
Oh, blimey.
So he was like, "Oh." So he didn't want to say, "Oh, the fella's in the pub," because he'd know he'd say, "What's he doing in the pub? He should be working,
Good.
right?" So he said, yeah, no problem. I'll sort it out. Right. So he puts it into gear or whatever you do on them trains.
Sure,
right?
puts it in first, yeah.
Starts going forward. Now, people who don't know about trains, something that I learnt is if you're carrying a load of coal or whatever on the back of it, they don't have brakes on each carriage, right? It's only the engine that has brakes on it. So when you pull the brakes on the engine, the whole weight of what it's pulling is pushing you forward.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't realise this though, because he's just used to cooking bacon and eggs and chucking coal in.
Of course,
and
yeah.
Like.
So you've got to slam the brakes on sooner than you would normally.
Yeah.
Well, you have to anticipate it, I suppose. Yeah.
But he didn't know that,
course
so
he
he's
didn't,
pulling in, he's thinking, right,
Well, he's a
I'll put the brakes on now.
Yeah.
Right? Puts the brakes on, the train just keeps going, he's going, oh god, it's not stopping.
Sure.
It ploughs right through the signal box, right?
The
Loads of
baboon
damage.
pulling the singles don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Loads of damage done. Apparently, if it was today's money,
Yeah.
it'd be about £3 to £4 million worth of damage. It shut the station off for 4 weeks. But he didn't lose his job. The fella had lost his job, the one who was in the pub.
Yeah.
He said the funny thing was, he said like £4 million worth of damage. He did his ankle, his wrist in. He had 3 weeks off sick and got paid. So it's brilliant. So
I love your family.
It's extraordinary. The Pilkington gene.
weird, isn't it?
I'd like to see a documentary following you and your family. You'd have to get the family involved.
No, the sort of stuff my dad goes on about. They'd never put it on telly.
Oh, I don't believe it. He's written it down.
That's downloadable as a ringtone. And it's also the jingle for Karl's diary. Just reading excerpts of Karl's diary. Went home and looked up Freud on the internet. Didn't find him that interesting, so looked at some other philosophers instead. Socrates, Aristotle. Why have you just listed some philosophers?
Just to show that I'm learning.
Well, that's not learning.
That's just learning their names.
That's a list. You might as well write 1 to 100.
Yeah, but if someone says, "Oh, what's your favourite philosopher?" I'll go, "Hang on a minute," and I've got them written down.
But why you can't just
Wait a
pick
minute, I'll
one.
go home, get my enormous diary out.
Yeah. Get a wheelbarrow, bring in my workings, and say one of the names I've written down.
And when they say, well, why do you like him?
yeah, why do you
just run away.
Well, I noticed you put Socrates first. Why is he your favourite philosopher?
You throw the diary at them and leg it. Oh, and then you go on to say, it's weird how names have changed, but then there's no other point there.
It just is, isn't it? When you think about, like, Socrates, I've never heard that on anyone who I know. Is what I mean. It's just, in a way...
But you're not Greek, are you?
But how did that go about back then? I mean, say if you were phoning someone up and they said, I'm booking a table for 2, they go, name? Socrates. Did he ever go, cheers? Without going, can you spell that for me?
But I don't know what point you're making.
I'm just saying it's a name that's awkward. You're always going to have to go, can you spell that for me? You go, and it's not just him. Look at all them other names that are on that list.
But they're from a different country.
And a different era.
Yeah, I know, but the names, I've been to Rome and stuff, and you sort of go...
Well, ancient Rome.
Just Rome. It hasn't changed, has it? Rome, so it can be ancient Rome or Rome in 2006. It's the same buildings.
I used to love Nero going around in his Fiat Punto.
Lao Tzu from years ago came up with some good stuff. 1, he who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know. Not entirely true. To lead people, walk behind them.
Yeah.
And of course, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with 1 step.
Yeah, good that.
Just favourites.
Maybe this is why people are at the start line spectating at the Commonwealth Games.
Well, no, it's just that I've never understood why in Olympics and stuff like that, if you're going to watch, don't stand around the start line, go to the end, where you see the winner. But because of that saying, it actually makes sense, doesn't it? It's like, well, every step starts with a step, or whatever.
Say again?
Every race, you know, you've got to start with a step.
Yeah.
So,
Which is, who am I talking to now, you or your brain?
well, I was thinking about it a bit, so I think I was in control of it a bit more.
So, and what have you come up with?
Just, if you want to stay at the start line, do.
What does that mean?
I'm just saying, if you're into, I wouldn't watch a race, right?
Okay,
But
is this you or your brain I'm talking to now?
this is me.
Okay.
I wouldn't watch.
Are you gonna bring the brain into it, or is it, there's no...
I don't know, let's just see what happens.
Okay.
But all I'm saying is,
Right.
if I was to watch a race,
Yeah.
I wouldn't hang about the start line, because...
Well, you just said you would.
What, did I?
Yeah, you said that's the place to start, because every race starts with a step.
No, but I wouldn't normally.
Right,
I
okay.
won't watch any
The
race.
brain definitely hasn't been used
No,
yet.
is this you or your brain you're talking about now?
I'm just saying about me, if I was on holiday,
Yeah,
and Suzanne said there's a race going on down the road,
yeah.
I'd go, well, let's go, keep going down the road and stand at the finish line.
Okay, but now what have
according
you
to
thought?
Lazoo,
Yeah.
I'd say, well, hang on a minute, every race starts with a single step.
Yeah.
how many people around the start line? Is there more room there? She goes, yeah. I'll go, let's go there then, it's less busy.
Right, and what would you see there then?
I'd see people starting the race, but I wouldn't be that impressed with them because I'd go, well, I don't know if any of these are any good.
So would you start at the start or the end then?
If it was down to me, I'd just probably stay at the finish line.
Okay, so you wouldn't want to see the first step then? So what do you think of Lazoo now then?
It's not what, but I wrote down 3 of his. That one isn't my favourite. That was the 3rd. I preferred the leading people from behind.
Okay, and what would you do to lead someone now then?
Well, if you're behind, you don't have to take responsibility, do you? You can go, well, I didn't send you here, you went there.
That's not really leading them, though, is it?
Yeah, because I've made them think. I've gone, they go, oh, I've just walked into a big hole. I'd go, oh, should have been looking where you're going. I haven't led them in that hole. But they've learnt a lesson, they won't go in a hole again.
That was one of the greatest conversations I've ever been a part of. I mean, that was incredible. Never mind Aristotle and Socrates. That was incredible, that. If someone's out there, could they make a transcript of that? Because I think that, you know, in 1,000 years' time, that'd be amazing. That was incredible, Carl.
And not once was the brain used.
Placebo, this picture on XFM 104.9. Steve?
Yes.
I think, Carl's gonna put most people to shame. We were talking about generosity earlier. Because Carl is a nice, generous bloke when it really comes to it. He's paying, for Father's Day, he's paying for the cottage that he's going away with his dad.
Are you really, Carl?
Yeah.
Right, well, there's no way of us proving if that's true or not.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, you could be lying.
But why would I do that?
Well, because you want to show off.
I didn't do it on air, you mentioned it. I don't want people to know how generous I am. I just do it, just get on with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like charity work and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I'd have thought that you wouldn't have fallen for Father's Day. I'd have thought you'd have known it was like...
Well, we don't, I mean, to be honest, there's a bit of a coincidence, because I paid for it anyway, and it's happened to fall on Father's Day. Right?
But don't
and my
buy a
dad's
card.
not normally that bothered.
Don't fall for it. I mean, obviously that and Mother's Day and a plethora of other things were, I mean, literally invented by card companies to make more money.
I know.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, my dad always says don't get him a card or anything. Because he hates it. With all these things that I'd like, you know, rip-off times, really, just ripping people off.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit stingy, that. But fair enough.
Well, no, I mean, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right. It's just, because fellas aren't bothered about getting cards anyway, are they? But the other thing that he noticed, you know, helping out the flower companies, the Princess Diana thing, when she...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No.
Jesus Christ. God.
So when...
Carl, what do you mean? What do you mean?
That's what he said. He said, oh, look
I nearly swore then because I was... you surprise me all the time.
No, I'm
but
just...
that is incredible.
Sorry, what? I don't understand. What are you talking
all
about?
the flowers that were sort of sold that day.
Right. What, for people to leave as a commemoration? Or
Yeah,
what?
they made a mint, didn't they?
Who did?
Flower companies.
Right. So what are you saying?
He was just saying, you know, makes you wonder.
What, whether
About what?
it was Interflora behind the hit?
Oh.
So it's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy by the flower companies.
I would love to see you and your dad just sitting at home watching a bit of Channel 5 when apes go mental, right? With your roast dinner.
When's that on?
And then talk like, well, yeah, well, you know, kill Diana, don't you? Flower company's son. Right, quite right, Dad, you're not wrong. What are you talking about?
No, I'm not, you know, I'm just saying, it's like you were saying about the cards, you know, on Father's Day and that, it's just a bit,
too much of a
weird.
coincidence. Too much of a coincidence.
I'd be interested to see sort of, you know, like the business graph.
Sure.
On how the companies were doing, then suddenly...
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But then by the same token, Elton John, you know, he had the biggest selling hit record, didn't he, off the back of that?
Mm.
I mean, so, is he incriminated as well?
If you want, I mean...
Right. It's a conspiracy theory you've not kind of analysed terribly closely. You've put it out there, and if people maybe who are investigating want to kind of add that into their inquiries, then they can.
Yeah.
Sure.
But, no, that's all I'm saying. I'm just, you know... Because it's always the same thing, isn't it? Like, I was out shopping the other day, you know, treating Suzanne, like I do. Yeah, I like spending money on that.
Yeah.
I was in W.H. Smith's.
Yeah. Classy. What was it? Was it a big birthday? Was it? Was it a 30th?
No, I was getting a.
Was it 2 biros for the price of 1?
I was getting a card for my dad for Father's Day anyway, because I'm seeing him.
Yeah.
Big Toblerone.
Yeah.
There was a giant
Who is it who said Father's Day? They love a Toblerone.
I've never understood Toblerone because the only time I see Toblerone is in airports, right, and minibars. That is what the small Toblerone is for the minibar in a hotel, 3-star upwards. And the big Toblerone.
Well, the big Toblerone is a gift, isn't it? It can only be a gift. You wouldn't buy a big Toblerone for yourself.
Yeah, a duty-free gift. The Toblerone. It's next to, Chanel No. 5 Toblerone and a bear.
But it's who specifically would you be buying that Toblerone for?
I don't know.
Someone who's clearly never had it before and would think it was interesting novelty.
Yeah.
Well, this gift's interesting.
I'll tell you what, though, Toblerone is brilliant. I mean, if whoever makes that, if they want to send sort of, some Toblerones, I will eat Toblerone.
Well, yeah. I think very much the same about, I think very much the same about fags.
And of course...
Just cigarettes. If you've got any boxes of cigarettes that you don't want, duty-free or whatever, send them.
I'd just like to say that, in no way do I endorse Carl's dad's theory that flower companies were behind the death of Diana.
No.
Maybe I could say that on there as well, just to save any complaint.
Oh, chimpanzee, that is only gone and written it down, the little...
That's the jingle for Karl's diary, excerpts of which we read each week. Get straight into it. A band from the Conga have won the Best Newcomers in a Radio 3 competition. They use pots and pans for instruments. It says that the Conga is a poor, sad place. So why do people do that happy dance at the end of parties called the Conga?
Right, one is the Congo. There's no place called the Conga. They come from a place called the Congo. Where do you come from? Okie dokie. It's a terrible place that we don't know whether to put our left leg in or our right leg in. Sometimes we shake it all about.
We're not sure if we should.
But, Conga! Fucking hell, you're such a...
Went into the gadget shop today. It's full of stuff that we don't need. Gadget used to be a good word that made you think of James Bond with all his gadgets. The best thing I could find in the shop was a clock that ran on potatoes. We are definitely going backwards.
I agree. Well, who cares about that? A little electrical impulse, so what?
Had a night out with old schoolmate. Found out about more of the other lads I went to school with. One is living underground.
What do you mean living underground? Not like a mole. Do you mean he's got a basement, or do you mean he digs a hole every night?
My mate went to visit him and he said it had been raining really heavily and that, and it's all the rain's running in.
What do you mean he went to visit him? He went down here? What's that? That's an hole in the ground. Yeah, come in.
He just said, oh, come round see us, and he's living underground.
What do you mean he's living underground?
He wanted to be in the army but was turned away, and that's the closest thing you can sort of...
How is that similar to
Oh, that's exactly like the army, yeah, where they teach you trades and, engineering and flying.
He's happy down there. He said it was really muddy and what have you. He said he won't be going back to visit him.
What's he got down there?
Just stuff, just like a sleeping bag, a lamp.
He's dug himself a subterranean cave.
Near my old infant school, they knocked it down because it was like a wreck. You'd be in the class and you could lean on the wall.
Yeah,
and your hand would go through it and stuff. And they knocked it all down, and I think that's when he was at his most happy, this bloke.
I believe this, though. I believe someone he went to school with now lives in a hole. That doesn't shock me. Whether the tales I've heard of horses in houses and big-headed kids with webbed hands and feet, and him, I believe that someone he went to school with now lives in a hole. That isn't bizarre to me.
You spent far too long with him if now you're just happy to accept.
I totally accept that. I'd be surprised if I walked round where he lived that there weren't more people living in holes. His dad wanted to throw his budgie on the fire.
True.
His budgie died, his dad said let's throw it on the fire. I mean, his mum, what did your mum do when your budgie died?
She just was worried about the other bird that was left, so she made it a bit of company by getting a rock, getting a feather off the dead budgie, sticking it on a rock, putting it in the cage.
So, a man living in a hole is not that bizarre. Right, carry on.
I read me science magazine. Some things I learnt from the science magazine. Number 1, space is running out of space. We should stay out of the sea 'cause shark attacks are up.
Yeah. Probably 4 a year now.
Well, he just says here, we should just stop going in the sea.
Yeah.
There's no need for it.
Exactly.
Why is there no need for going in the sea?
Just because there isn't now, is there? We've got loads of land. So just, you know, one or the other. We walked out the sea. Now, this is what I mean about going backwards. Getting back in it again. We came from the sea originally. Now we're going back in it. Don't go in it. Unless you're in a boat.
The rules, according to Karl Pilkington.
The rules of Karl Pilkington.
Oh, God.
Did the podcast and then went for a walk round Manchester Square. Years ago, a woman lived round there who had a head like a pig. She was known as the Pig Woman of Manchester Square. That made me think if there were other pig-headed women knocking about London.
Do you know what I mean? Why was she nicknamed that? Why not just the pig-headed woman? That suggests to me like there was loads of pig-headed women, and that's the one of Manchester Square.
Right.
Well, no, it was more to do with identifying her, not amongst other pig-headed women, but go, have you seen the pig woman of Manchester Square? I.e., go down there and see the pig woman, it's in Manchester Square.
What happens if she's walked off from there, though, and you go, well, no, but I saw one on New Cavendish Street.
No,
Is that the same woman?
she'll always come back if you rattle the feed.
Watched a film about Hitler. Didn't watch all of it as it was subtitled. Can't be doing with that. Asked Suzanne if cinemas are full of deaf people when they're showing subtitled films. She said, shh, I'm trying to watch it. I said, what do you mean, shh? It's subtitled, I can make as much noise as I want.
Yeah.
She's a lucky, lucky woman.
You must be a joy to watch a subtitled film. I mean, the concentration is up there already. I mean, it is hard to concentrate. It's not as easy as when you're hearing it, because you read things, but, it's possible. If you had a buffoon going, I'm just gonna sit here and make as much noise as I want, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
What is the point of that? I mean, it's possible, but why do that in a cinema? Just walk into a subtitled film and go, right, everybody? Let's all do the conga.
Well, yeah, or during ballet. Ballet, they're just dancing. You don't need to listen to the words. Just have a conversation. We're having our bathroom done. The bathroom man was round at 9 this morning. We weren't allowed to use the shower because it all had to be bone dry before we could use his waterproof filler. Not that waterproof, then. Went for a brew with Ricky. We talked about monkeys and how they are closer to humans than they are to apes, and how bees will drink cider to get off their heads. Now and again there is a bee that lets the drinking get in the way of the work, and other bees sting it to death. Blimey.
Yeah, well, there's bees. They love a drink, and they will drink pure alcohol. They drink 100%. They drink ethanol. I don't know why. They love getting off it, and they fall down and they're drunk, right? A bee can take in the equivalent of 20 litres of wine, right? But some bees get addicted in the same sort of percentage as human addiction, like 10% of bees, they can't get enough of it. They take ethanol, they take cider apples and that, and then when they get back to the hive, they go in a bit pissed, and they've got guard bees, and they go, come on, we've all had a drink.
Bouncers.
Yeah. They sort of are, right? And they push them away, and push them away again. Then the next time they go, right, I've had enough. And they give it a good hiding. And Karl couldn't get over this. I saw his face, but I knew that he was thinking of that bee with sort of like eyes rolling round his head, a little bit belligerent with his jacket on backwards.
Yeah.
And the bouncer going, come on, son, we've all had enough. Let's move away, move away.
You're not coming in, right? You're wearing trainers.
Yeah, you're wearing 3 pairs of trainers, and I'm sick of it,
But what I did find out, because I went home and went on the computer trying to find out about drunk bees knocking about, they're not actually meant to fly. It's only because they don't know.
Fly.
Well, no, but if they were told that you're not actually designed to fly, they wouldn't bother.
No, this is that thing that goes around that aerodynamically, on the face of it, looking at the size of the wings and the body proportions and everything, that it's a surprise that they can fly. Okay, it's not that no one's ever told them they can't, and as soon as someone tells them you're not meant to fly, they all fall out of the sky going, oh, what are we doing? Like in a cartoon.
No, but it's something about the confidence and that. At the moment, nobody's saying
it's nothing to do with the confidence. There is no such thing as confidence in bees. A bee never loses its nerve. That's not why it drinks. Because what are you drinking for? I'm just not confident anymore. There's no point to turn to the bottle. I can't go up there again. You're an idiot.
Do you do that? I imagine that you get caught staring at them.
Yeah, do you go up to people with problems and go, Mummy, is that a monster?
Well, I was telling you one about when I used to go with my dad in the taxi.
Oh, yeah, tell us this story.
Well,
your father was a taxi driver?
My dad he had loads of jobs, which he did back then, and they don't do that anymore, do they, people? They don't
have
do
variety
loads
of
of stuff.
Sure.
But at one point, he had a black cab, and I used to go with him. Used to get a beer crate and put it in the front of the black cab and sort of sit just next to the meter. And anyway, we got this call, and like the guy on the end of the radio said, "Oh, you've got your son with you, haven't you?" So he said, "Yeah." So it's just like, we've got to pick up at number 11 Village Lane or whatever. And he said, "Oh, all right." And it was this woman. It was like a woman version of the Elephant Man.
Wow. The Elephant Woman.
Yeah, it looked like. It looked like, it was really strange because I was in the front of the cab, and when you're a kid, if something looks odd, you're a bit scared of it, aren't you?
Yeah.
And my dad was like, "Look, it'll be all right." And we're driving towards her.
Look, don't worry, son. I've got loads of buns.
And just to
I
give
think I'll
you-
just throw one down the street if it's you run after
You're
it.
being mean, right?
I am a little bit.
So
Yeah.
how old were you? 18?
No, I was about 12 or something like that. 11, 12. And as we got closer to her, it looked like she was holding like a bag of spuds on her shoulder,
For a snack.
Right.
and her head was all a bit mangled and messy and that. And my dad said, "Whatever you do, don't stare at her face."
Yeah.
And she got in the
Because you
back.
turn into stone.
She got in the back, and I had like the mirror, the driver's mirror thing, and sort of having a look, trying to work out. And he said, "Don't stare at her face." I couldn't work out where her face was. It was that weird.
Oh God.
So I'm not sure you're from Manchester. I think you're from like Narnia or something.
Yeah, you got frog boys walking around.
the Lord
like,
of the Rings.
That got like the claws of a lobster and the head of a toad.
Yeah.
And you got women getting in with spuds for heads. I mean, what
This is
sort
not
of what
Manchester.
is
This
this
is not the
place?
place you grew up. This is
Yeah.
mad.
Oh, you can't believe it in London, can you? You come down and you go, look, symmetry. It must be amazing.
It must be a thing to do with upbringing, though, mustn't it? And because again, do you know, I've said to you before, years ago when I was a kid and didn't have any worries, good-looking lad, you go through it a bit, have a few more worries, and you look knackered. Now back there's a lot more worries and stuff, so you get a lot more freaks. Whereas in London, everyone's like happy, aren't they? Got
I
loads
love
of
the
money.
fact that stress can cause your fingers to fuse and your heads
Yeah.
to grow.
No, but if
She must have been really stressed to have a head like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. She what was?
Bag of
Yeah, was she an accountant or something?
you know what I mean.
But what did she do? What did she say?
Where
when
was
she
she
got in?
going, by the way?
She couldn't speak.
London Zoo, please.
I think she was going to like a
To the
pet
fair.
shop. Seriously, honest to God. On my mum's life, she was. Because at the end of the day, that's a good thing with animals. They don't judge you, do they?
She's not
She
an
was an
animal.
animal. She's a human
She's
being.
not actually an elephant.
No, but
You know the Elephant Man was not actually an elephant. Do you understand that? He's got no elephant genes in him at all.
No.
That was just a cruel name people gave him.
Yeah.
No, it's the name of the disease, isn't it? Elephantitis.
Look, so listen. So this woman, why was she going to a pet shop?
She was going to a pet shop. What, to find a husband?
Right, play a song.
Is this true?
No, it is true, yeah.
Oh,
But
God.
I'm not taking the mickey because it must be
So,
really bad for
Of
you.
course it
But
is.
Carl, I
we
need to
haven't.
ask.
I'm going on to you today about cutting myself shaving.
Yeah.
I was going on about that. To think that she's probably not alive now, but to think,
But you're saying that you're going to say this is a worse problem than a little cut shaving, aren't you?
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I
The
think you're
things
right.
that
Carl,
you worry about.
there's a couple of key questions I need to ask. One, if she couldn't talk,
Yeah.
how did she tell your father where to drive it? Did she have it
Probably
written on
got
a
some
note?
help
Did she
for at
point
home.
with her nose?
Yeah.
Right, this has got silly. Pick your song.
But and also, finally, where did you say she lived again?
It was like in a village, a little small village.
Right.
Just hidden out of the way.
All I'm saying is we could maybe get like some sort of coach, book some coaches, get a coach party up there to have a look at her.
So,
Take some photos.
And now
You can make some lemonade.
the offspring of a woman and some spuds. Please enter at your peril. Should it give me a shiny shilling?
Wow.
Oh, that's terrible. Well, I'm going to play a little bit of Teenage Fan Club song for the lovers here. We left it very late. We've been just, rapping with Karl P here, and this is I Need Direction.